Welcome to the Doc G Show, a radio show cluster. Without further ado, critics have said he has the face for radio and a voice for silent films. Your host, Ben Doc G Gordon.
And we are on the air. Welcome to Doc G Show. I'm your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Daticus Finch.
Say what?
Charette.
Doc G, what is up, sir?
Mike, living the dream.
Yes, you are.
Living the dream. Do you know what Daticus Finch is a play on?
Ooh, is that that's a famous story, Atticus, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah, man. I did a little bit of reading.
Nice, Mike. I'm thoroughly impressed. We are starting
Got the
off.
name of the story though. What was it?
It involves a bird. Can you get it from that? The title involves a bird.
No.
So, To Kill a Mockingbird. Mike.
To Kill a Mockingbird. I did have Mockingbird, but I kept going to the Hunger Games movie for some
Went to
reason.
a more recent classic, guys.
No Atticus Finch.
Yeah, Atticus Finch. He was the lawyer. He was the dad in How to Kill a Mockingbird, and just won a Pulitzer for fiction, Mike. And I looked this up after I was thinking about this. I got a little tangent. 2006, a group of British librarians ranked it above the Bible as a book every adult should read before they die.
Yeah, I like that.
And it was also voted by Library Journal as the best novel of the century.
I like that.
Harper Lee, that was the author. She passed away I want to say it was about 5 years ago, I think. Somewhere around there.
Very recent.
It's pretty recent. And that was it was one of those, that was the only book she wrote. They finally released another book, and they tried to act like that was a new book, but it's basically an earlier draft of To Kill a Mockingbird. And
Interesting.
And they basically released it when she was not trying to offend her, but too senile to really do anything about it. And so they were like, all right, we can get this and we can make some money. And so people weren't really psyched about them releasing that second one.
That's not cool.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that cool. But the first one, super classic, Mike.
Yeah. Hey, she was a one-hit wonder author.
Hey, yes, a little bit. And they've done a lot of stories about that, as far as I think Finding Forrester. You ever remember that movie, Mike?
No.
It was a movie with Sean Connery. And it was a little bit based on that idea that he wrote the great American novel, and then that was it. Never wrote anything else,
I imagine there's a lot of one-hit wonder authors just because of how hard writing books.
Yeah, to a degree, but she's one that she barely wrote anything else though. It's not it wasn't like she was failing. It was basically she was just boom, done. And they were try again, and she was nah. And just shit, the last time she did an interview, Mike, was 64.
Wow.
Yeah, and she lived, 50 some years after that, and she just stopped. Was nope, never again.
That's wild.
Yeah, really interesting. Got sidetracked though, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, I don't know if the listeners will be happy about this or if they'll be sad, but it's like we were talking about right before we came on. I didn't go to the bachelor party.
Party sounds.
Woo! Introverted!
Let's go.
I mean, it wasn't introverted, listeners. It was the fact it's 8 hours. I would have gladly gone had it been down the street. Well, I won't say gladly, but I would have gone had it been down the street,
Or in Miami.
Yeah, or anywhere within a 4-hour radius. I'll say that. 4 hours, that's my cut point. Anywho, Mike, a little update. It seemed like they had a lovely time.
Yeah,
everybody was there. They did their thing, and I wanted to let listeners know they apparently went go-kart racing, Mike.
Go-kart. That's fun.
Which made me a little bit happier that I didn't go. If like,
not a fan.
well, it's one of those things, Mike. If this were Family Feud, right, and they said name the top 5 goof people do at bachelor parties, I feel like that would be on there. It would be golf, going to breweries, axe throwing, paintball would be last, and somewhere up there go-kart.
Yeah.
You know, those are all the 5 things that when you're at they're like, what should we do? Well, we're 10 dudes. Let's go go-kart racing. You know? And it's just like, I'm not exactly sure. Like, don't get me wrong. It's like I said, it's fun. It's fun to shoot around in those little things around the course. But, like, I'm not exactly sure why that's the deal, you know? Like, I mean, Mike, I have been invited to 5 bachelor parties in the last about 5 years. Mm-hmm. I've went to 1, by the way. So I'm 1 for 5 on those bachelor parties.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's 20%. But every single one of them has proposed, and I'm not exaggerating on this, has proposed go-kart racing. Yeah. Girl, come on. And, like, first of all, it's like $50 down the drain. You know? Like, and I don't know. I feel like I can find a better way to waste $50 than that. I don't know. I don't know about you.
It's like you're just driving around and, you know, I mean, the initial couple laps are
you got to learn
and,
it.
You know, you're in it.
Yeah. But
you know, tap into the childhood go-kart thing, but yeah, it's like
I mean, and I thought the idea of a bachelor party was you do things you probably won't be allowed to do once you're married, right? You know, like I thought that was the whole idea. Like is your wife gonna throw down a ban on go-karts as soon as you're married? Like, I don't catch you at the track. All right, don't think it. You know, like I don't think that's happening. You know, like I don't think Ryan was out there like, oh man, I got to take advantage of this. I'm never gonna be seeing this once the old ball and chain gets to me. You know, like
that's funny.
I mean, you know. You're going to do a bachelor party, do it like Hangover style, you know? Get out there, do some insane things. I want to see some strippers, some illicit substances, do some serious bodily harm.
Somebody's arrested. Somebody's got to get arrested.
You know, and listeners, let's be clear. I still wouldn't go to that type of bachelor party either, but that would make sense. Yeah. That would be some things. Otherwise, just, you know, shoot me a text after you get married and we'll hang out. Like, you know, we can go go-karting anytime you want. Just let me know. Like, and I'll be like, you want to waste $50 today? Sure, let's go. You know, like I don't know, Mike. It just came to me. But I'm glad, Ryan, congratulations on the marriage, my friend. And congratulations on a successful bachelor party. You know? And guess what, Mike? We have another successful wedding coming our way known as The Show.
That's right.
Today. Because like I said before, this is our celebration.
Yeah,
the Doc G Show. Mike, are you ready to fire it up?
Let's fire up the show, Doc G.
5. All 3 engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
Woo! My goodness. Good show today, Mike. Good show. Do you know the band Moe? You should.
No.
You should know Moe. Moe knows you. They don't actually know you. But still, they're a fantastic band, Mike. They are a jam band that has been together 36 years.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, they have been...
Tenure.
They have been jamming. They have done concerts with the Grateful Dead.
Say what?
They have done concerts with The Who.
Jeez.
They have done concerts with Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin.
That's wild.
Yeah.
These guys have worked.
They have done Radio Music Hall in New York City. They have done Red Rocks like, I don't know how many times, 12 times or something like that. They've done Bonnaroo 6 times.
Nice.
Yeah.
Always wanted to go to Bonnaroo.
These guys have seen it all. And I'm going to be talking to their drummer, Vinnie Amico. They've got a new album coming out right here at the end of the week. Circle of Giants. Can't wait to talk to them. It's going to be good, Mike. But before we do that, we need to start where we start.
The birthday suits.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Mike, you got this one.
Okay.
You got it. I've got faith in it. She is extremely popular. And here's my condensed clue. Perhaps the most famous daytime talk show host of all time.
Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey is correct. Yes. Mike, I was getting ready. If you didn't get it just from that, I was going to say, you get a car. You get a car. You get a... Everybody gets a car. Girl, come on. I didn't have to do that. But that's what happens a lot on our show back in the day.
Yeah.
She is from Mississippi, Mike.
Oh.
Mississippi, yes. Born in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, I think is how it's pronounced. And then she was raised in Milwaukee, then moved to Nashville, landed a job in radio when she was still in high school. By 19, she was the co-anchor of the news, Mike, the local news. It's wild, 19.
Yeah, man.
Eventually, she became a daytime talk show host in Chicago. She focused on self-improvement, self-confessionals, literature. And for multiple years, her show was the biggest talk show in the world. Final air of the actual Oprah Winfrey show was 2011, Mike.
Oh, wow.
And then, of course, she had, her network. She did the whole book club, all that kind of stuff. She now has a multiple year deal with Apple. She's been awarded honorary degrees from Princeton, Harvard, Howard, just to name a few. She's written 11 books, and she was named, this is pretty crazy, Mike, she was named by Forbes as the world's most powerful celebrity in 2005, 7, 8, 10, and 13.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. And in 2010, Life magazine named her one of the 100 people who changed the world. And she was the only living person on the list at that time. And I was like, I think I could find some other people that are still living that changed the world. Like, no offense to Oprah, but I was like, I think there's a couple other people that you could argue.
What year was it?
It was, do they have the list? 2010. 2010.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, there's definitely, you could argue, and I would, as my bias, I would argue Michael Jordan could be on that list. Because he
I
can
was going
change.
to say Michael Jackson.
Jackson, but he
he passed away.
Yeah, 2009. Yeah, missed it. But I feel like anyway.
Michael Jordan definitely changed the world, though, man. It's wild.
Completely different sports dynamic. Everything different. Sports clothing completely different. Anywho, we're not talking about Jordan. We're talking about Oprah. And she became a billionaire, Mike, in 2003.
Wow.
She's been a billionaire for 22 years.
Man.
Now she's worth $3 billion. So, there you go. Oprah, living
what
large,
happened, Oprah?
man.
Come on.
Yeah,
should be at 10 right now.
You need to accumulate.
20
What are
years.
you doing? Accumulate.
Over 20 years.
She's been resting on her laurels, obviously.
Write more books. Come on.
Anyway, but happy birthday, Oprah.
Yeah.
She seems like a real fantastic person.
Yeah.
This may surprise you, Mike. I've never met her in person. But,
me neither.
Hopefully, maybe at some point in time.
Yeah, maybe one day she has us on her podcast or whatever.
Or she comes on our podcast.
Oh, hey, I'm down with that too.
That's easier for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, Mike, are you ready to rip some headlines?
Let's do it.
Mike, I've got a story to start off from MSN News. Here we go. Quote, the 2025 Tesla Cybertruck update is here.
Say what?
There you go, Mike. That's right. First update in 2025. The main update? Swastikas on the door.
Oh gosh, Doc G, really?
Now, before anybody gets enraged, it's just an allusion to an old Asian tradition. Nothing bad about it. All right, guys? Come on. Don't misunderstand him. Jeez.
Okay, I gotcha.
Just tell yourself that while you're driving your swastika mobile. Anywho. Yeah. If you didn't get the joke, listeners, go back and watch the inauguration. It's sad.
Oh gosh. That's
Anywho.
really sad.
Here's another headline from Daily Mail. Quote, doctors to invent Benjamin Button vaccine that turns back body clock. End quote. No, Mike. I don't buy it. Like, you mean to tell me the doctors at pharmaceutical companies that can't make an eczema treatment without the potential side effect of sudden death, those doctors are going to be able to develop a fountain of youth drug? I don't know. I feel like it's probably not going to happen. Like, I can't wait for the side effects of that drug. Potential side effects include destroying the space-time continuum. What?
You open a black hole if you take this.
That's not good. That's. But not too surprisingly, Mike, I actually looked at this article. There's not anything tangible for this vaccine for living longer. They just talked to some researchers that were like, yeah, we're looking for ways to target inflammation. Girl, come on. That was pretty much it.
I got you.
So they could have renamed the article, we're just trying to get clicks from older folks that don't want to be old. That's pretty much all we had there. Mike, I've got an article from The Guardian. Here's the headline. If U.S. millionaires can't get fire insurance in the climate crisis, where does that leave poor nations? It's a good question, Mike. And I've got the answer written down here. It leaves them Phuket. Oh, I'm sorry. That's pronounced Mike.
Yeah.
That's what it leaves them.
Yeah.
So true.
Mike, I wanted to move on to this one. This was an interesting topic here. This is from Business Insider. The researcher who popularized Gen Beta explains why the name fits the next generation. Mike, is it just me? Am I crazy? Are we shooting out more generations to give cranky old folks another group of young people to hate?
That's about what we're. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we're doing.
Like, listeners, you may think I'm just making a joke here. The greatest generation and the silent generation spanned for over 50 years. 50 years for those two generation groups. Then millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen Beta are less than 40 years. What? I feel like in 5 years we're going to look up and we're going to be like, hey, there's an article, you'll never guess what Generation Sigma is wearing to school today. What? When were they born? Oh, March of 2027 to April of 2027. That's Generation Sigma.
Typical Gen Sigma.
Gen Sig.
Why can't they be more like Gen Xers? Come on.
Right? Gen Sig. Get it. Like, it's just let's spread it out, guys.
Yeah.
There's
changing.
It's not that many generations. Ridiculous. Dumb, Mike. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why? Why have we split? Tell me the big defining factor that we had to make a whole nother generation for. You don't. You just want more.
It's K-pop, Doc G. That's the defining moment.
Of course.
K-pop. Gen K-pop. That's what we really need.
I love that K-pop. Can't get enough,
Me too.
Mike. Can't get enough. I've got another Business Insider news, Mike. Here's the article from Business Insider. Quote, a J.P. Morgan exec says Americans need to get better at asking for raises. Mike, did you know that? It's just the phrasing. That's it. Apparently that's it. I thought raises should be based on the merits of a person's work. But apparently, it's just the plea to receive more money. All you got to do is just be like, oh, please go. Oh, all right. Like, come on. They're your boss. They're not a king. Like, a raise? I don't think it's the wrong tone. Come back to me tomorrow with a better request. No, it should be on the work, Mike. That's what it should be on. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
No magic words for it. Come on. Get out of here. Anyways, Mike, this just got me. This is just good. I had to. Mike,
People Magazine?
What?
Is it People Magazine?
It's not People on this one. It's
okay.
I guess, I don't know. They might be offended by this, but I feel like you could say it's sort of close to People Magazine. This is an article from OK Magazine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Which, this article, just full disclosure, listeners, this article helps no one, gives us no useful information, and is completely unnecessary.
That's a fact.
But when I saw it in my news feed, it made me laugh to myself for like a good 5 seconds. So, here we go. Quote, horrendous Blake Lively accused of excessive farting while in the middle of a set, claims Gossip Girl extra. Very unpleasant to work with. What?
Hit pieces left and right on Blake Lively.
What? Like,
Gosh.
there's so much that I've, like, did OK Magazine go out searching for extras to see if they'd been farted on by Blake Lively, or did the fart victim reach out to OK Magazine and say, like, hey, I've been living with PTSD from this event for years.
Yeah.
Like, just, oh, Mike, like, listeners, I'm not wading in. I'm not wading into the whole drama of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just more curious, what angle was OK Magazine playing with this article? Like, they were like, we're just going to give her a bad rotation.
They're trying to bring her down, Doc G.
Well, that's why we're just going to give her a bad reputation. Everybody hates a farter. All right?
Yep.
So when they find out she's a farter, it's over for, like, it's just like, just ridiculous, Mike.
Ruin everybody's day temporarily. All over the place.
And Gossip Girls, too. Just like in the middle of a scene, just, sorry, it's me again, guys. I can't help it. It just, made me chuckle, Mike. I saw it and I was just like, that is so dumb.
More people
dumb.
are coming out and accusing Blake Lively of.
Yeah. Well, no, and that's true too, Mike, because I did see another article, of course, from another basically gossip article from Daily News. I'm guessing with the same extra, claiming the same thing.
I'm going to step forward. I was also an extra on Gossip Girl, and she farted right on me at the catering table.
I threw up.
I couldn't
immediately.
even eat.
Yeah, threw up, threw down my bagel and said, "This is too much."
That's a fact.
Mike, I've got a headline, another one from Us Weekly. Quote, Khloe Kardashian explains why she doesn't take cheating personally. Got to be honest, Mike. That sounds like a girl that's been doing a lot of cheating herself.
Oh, yeah.
You know? That's like a person randomly bringing up people that pee in the shower, and they're like, but I don't care. I mean, I don't do it, but I don't care if other people do it. They're definitely peeing in the shower. Yes! Khloe is definitely out there cheating her balls off. Like, hey, you cheated?
For sure.
Nothing personal, bro. Let's just keep it moving. All the same,
Yeah.
who cares, man?
Yeah.
Because let's be honest. If you've been cheated on, you're taking it personal.
Yeah, you do.
You're how do you not? You're the only other person in the situation. They're cheating on you. They're not cheating on the society. Like, get out of here, Khloe. Anywho, Mike, here's a headline from BBC Country File magazine. Getting in depth there of BBC. I didn't know that.
Country File?
Country File.
BBC Country File.
Yep.
This is BBC. This is where... Never mind. I'm just going to stop.
Mike, here's the headline. Quote, these are the best alcoholic drinks if you want to lose belly fat.
Yeah, okay. Country File. There we go. Now it all makes sense.
Right? Mike, I would say, or in other words, you don't really want to lose belly fat.
That's a fact.
Who's out there taking, you know what, a gallon of booze? That'll help me lose this body. It doesn't? Mm-hmm. Oh, weird. Like, what's the drink they're going to have? I got a little gin mixed with Ozempic. Great. Causes me to lose weight every single time. Like, not surprisingly, Mike, if you are looking to lose weight, they recommend just shots of gin with nothing else in it.
I was thinking tequila. But
gin.
No. Gin.
Gin is what they went with, Mike. Gin is what they were saying.
Tough.
Mike, here's a headline from For the Win. For the Win, it's a sports magazine.
FTW.
Here's the headline, quote, a grumpy Paul George got stuck in Eagles celebration traffic while driving in Philadelphia. I don't know, Paul. Instead of being grumpy, you might want to take advantage. I don't know if you're ever going to get another chance to celebrate a win in Philadelphia, so you might want to take advantage in football.
Burn.
I'm not trying to be mean. They just aren't playing well this season.
Yeah.
And Paul's sort of old.
Yeah.
I'm older, but he's sort of old for basketball.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Ugh.
Mike, I think this is my last one here. This is from People.
Our people.
Quote, Sharon Stone's mind is completely blown after learning her relative is one of the most important people in history. And no, Mike, I'm not talking about Oprah. It's not Oprah. But apparently, Sharon Stone was on the show Finding Your Roots, Mike. We've talked about Finding Your Roots before. It's the PBS show where you go on and they have you turn the page and they go through your whole family tree and they talk about everybody, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. And, you know, the big find for, like, the last, 15 years has always been finding slave owners in your family and being like, you have slave owners in your family. And the person goes, oh, no, you know? And,
yeah.
I mean, one of the best responses was what's his name? From CNN. White-haired dude on CNN.
Anderson Cooper?
Anderson Cooper,
yeah.
Thank you. For some reason was not coming. But Anderson Cooper went on there, and they told him that. They were like, I forget, you know, it's like your great-great-great-grandfather was a slave owner. And he's like, turn the page to find out what happened to your great-great-great-grandfather. He turns the page, and it's like, your great-great-great-grandfather was beat to death with a shovel by his own slaves. And the guy that is the narrator, the host of the show, was like, do you think he deserved that? And Anderson Cooper, without a hitch, was just like, yeah, I think he did. That's great. And I'm like, yeah, it's easy to say. Like, I don't understand when people don't have that reaction. I'm like, of course deserved it. Awesome. Like, doesn't make you any less to say that. Like, I just don't understand why people's reaction are like, oh, no. The person's so far back there, who cares?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Well, back to Sharon Stone, Mike. Sharon Stone went on Finding Your Roots. And as I mentioned in the headline, they found out that she was related to somebody, Mike. They found out that she was related to Charlemagne the Emperor. Not Charlemagne the God.
Yeah, don't confuse it.
Not the dude that's on the radio now, but Charlemagne the Emperor, the dude that was alive 1,200 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, he was Sharon Stone's 38th great-grandfather.
Huh?
Oh, come the Mike. 38th grandfather? Like, first of all, you're telling me they had perfect birth records for 39 generations? Like, somebody lied in there. That's not true. There is some kind of miscommunication there. Second, Mike, you could tell me that right now and my mind would not be blown. Like, come on, Sharon. Like, you could tell me, hey, your great-grandfather to the 39th power was oh, cool. Like, it's 1,000 years. Basically, you essentially have the same amount of DNA in common with Charlemagne as you do with a house cat.
Yeah.
So, congratulations.
I was going to say T-Rex or something, but yeah.
Who gives a Oh, like, come on. Like, it's just like, oh my God, my mind is blown. Like,
I knew it.
It's like,
I do have some Charlemagne in me.
I thought I had a little bit of Emperor. I felt it.
You know, I can see it sometimes when I'm holding my glass.
It's just ridiculous, Mike.
There's an option on 23andMe for historical. I was actually just looking at that. Historical matches on 23andMe. $69 a year, Doc G. Come on.
I'll tell you right now, Mike. My brother has a good amount of 23andMe stock. Yeah, and that has plummeted. He did not do well on that at all.
They got the
it really failed, and it has not came back up. But you know, what can you do? Well, anyways, Mike,
I'll purchase my historical matches. I'll try to help them out.
There you go.
Come back to the show. I'm related to Ludwig van Beethoven.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to figure it out. Mike's going to be related to at least 15 historical figures, and none of them is Hitler. Yeah! So there you go. There you go. Zero Hitler connections, but negative a couple of slave owners. Anyways, Mike, we are going to take a break. We are going to be right back here on the Doc G Show. Back here on the Doc G Show, Spinnaker Radio, WSKRLP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. Mike, what do listeners need to do?
Well, Doc G, if the listeners feel like our show is a positive way to waste their time, then they should please subscribe to the show wherever they consume their podcasts.
Nice.
We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Spotify. Subscribe to the show. It is a cost-effective way to support the show. And listeners, if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a 5-star review. We would really love that. We would.
Hey, man, got a couple more of those, Mike. The people are going towards Spotify. Thank you, listeners.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I think we're almost up to a half a century mark or something like that, Mike. And that's not bad. You know, I was looking around at other relatively comparable podcasts. Their 5 stars were pretty scant. So we're doing all right. But keep it coming, listeners.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Keep it coming. Mike, we got to thank the 5 stars. So let me get my list out here. Okay.
Shout out.
Shout out to Columbus, Ohio, Falkenstein, Germany. Let me just hold on. I stumbled at the beginning, Mike. I stumbled at listeners. That was I almost said Columbia, South Carolina, and then I was just off. I was just off. So here we go. Shout out Columbus, Ohio, Falkenstein, Germany. Oh God, Mike, Jesus, this is just atrocious. Okay, one more time. Shout out Columbus, Ohio, Falkenstein, Germany, Jacksonville, Florida, Columbia, South Carolina, Radford, Virginia, Gainesville, Florida, Frankfurt, Germany, Anoka, Minnesota, Ashburn, Virginia, Purified, Brazil, San Diego, California, Dublin, Oregon, Borden. Mike, I don't know what is wrong with me today.
You're doing great.
You know
Doc
what?
G.
I'm just going to go slow from here on out. Genoa, Italy, Richardson, Texas, Barcelona, Spain, Winfield, West Virginia, Biloxi, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Peoria, Illinois, Katy, Texas, Toms River, New Jersey, Olive Branch, Mississippi, Asheville, North Carolina, Los Angeles, California, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Athens, Georgia, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chicago, Illinois, Boynton, Virginia, and Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Gosh, Mike.
Nice.
F up fest of 2025 right there was what that was. Jeez. I apologize to all of the early cities there. My bad. Gosh. Columbus, Ohio, Mike. Shout out to them. Home of Rogue exercise equipment.
Oh, okay.
Just bought some Rogue equipment. No offense to my friends at Sorinex, Mike. I have met and barely, I will say, know the owners of Sorinex exercise equipment. They were nice enough to come to a class that I taught at one point in time.
Oh, cool.
Yes. So no offense to the old Sorinex people, but also that Rogue, they make some good equipment. I got some good equipment, so shout out to Rogue in Columbus, Ohio.
Different stuff from the other company?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I got was the Echo bike, the Echo Aerodyne bike, that has the big old fan in the front. So Sorinex does not make those. So
okay.
So I wasn't cheating on them with that, So.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mike, we need to shout out the 4-star listens.
Shout out.
First on the list, Miami, Florida.
Miami.
Shout out to Miami. Next on the list, Phoenix, Arizona. Next on the list, Blackshear, Georgia. Mike.
Okay.
Yeah. Next on the list, Indianapolis, Indiana. Next on the list, Fernandina Beach, Florida. Shout out to you guys, Fernandina. We always appreciate the listens. Boston, Massachusetts. Shout out to you. ATL, Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out to you. Mullins, South Carolina. A little small spot there in South Carolina. Shout out to you. Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, Mike. Woo-hoo. Yeah, Ho Chi Minh. There we go. Shout out to you guys. Vietnam, we got a little bit of a communication problem between us and Bangladesh. So if you want to step in and be our Southeast representatives, you're more than welcome. That's right, I said it, Bangladesh.
So true.
I am open to Vietnam being our Southeast Asia representatives. That's right. It's not a threat. I'm just saying it could happen. Okay?
Yeah.
We will.
Why not?
We will switch allegiances if they show us the same respect. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, Mike, Madrid, Spain. Shout out to Madrid. Nuremberg, Germany. Shout out to them. Richmond, Virginia. The old RVA. London, England. Yes. And lastly, Paris, France. There we go.
Cool.
Good list, Mike. Good list. Now, we've got some very important things on the show to get to. We've got an amazing interview here with Vinnie Amico that we got to get to. And then, Mike, I'm very excited. We got to get to our top 3.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Very excited.
So without any hesitation, we will be right back with none other than Vinnie Amico here on the Doc G Show. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are very excited to have the drummer of a fantastic band, Moe, who have a new album on the way, Circle of Giants, and they'll be in Jacksonville on March 13th at Intuition Ale Works. Mr. Vinnie Amico. Vinnie, how are you, sir?
Good. How's it going?
Good, man. Very good. So, I was looking when we were getting ready for the interview, almost 36 years now.
Yeah, we're celebrating our 35th anniversary this year.
Yeah.
I've been in the band. I'm the 5th drummer, so I'm the new guy. I've been in the band 29 years.
I mean, that's crazy to say.
Yeah.
Like, I
So.
mean, did you see 30 years of drumming in your future when you agreed to be the drummer back in 96?
I was hoping that was going to be the case because I didn't want to do anything else. And I had a real job out of college. And I was like, yeah, I don't love this so much. And, the dream was to do it. The fact that we actually made it this far and this long and still going strong.
Yeah.
And stronger than we have in a little while.
Yeah.
Is like just a shocking and amazing. I mean, most people don't have any job 30 or 35 years, let alone a career in music. That's like insanity. So I'm pretty freaking psyched.
Yeah. I mean, when you joined the band, like I was thinking about, I was like, was there any rock band that had gone that long? And I don't think there was. Like, I mean, you had some like individual groups and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
I mean, probably the Rolling Stones were coming upon that.
They were getting close. Yeah.
Jerry had just passed.
Yeah.
Couple, when I joined the band, Jerry had just passed, and they were, so they were right on 35 years. Cause wait, let me think. I saw the Dead in 85. It was 20 years so far. That was his first Dead. So they were only on 30 years in 95. So they weren't there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's rare. Now we got a bunch now, but
right.
You so like I mentioned, you came in the band a little bit later, not much later, but in 96, and I've heard you talk about it before. Jim, you knew Jim before you were actually in the band, and you'd had the band sort of on your radar. You knew him. Were you hoping they would ask you? Like, were you interested? Like, that'd be good. That'd be a sweet gig.
So I was really good friends with their manager. Actually, we were roommates. As soon as we graduated college, we got an apartment in downtown Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
And he and my other roommate were promoting shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was either right toward the end. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was either right toward the end of my stint staying with those guys, or right after I left and moved to DC for a minute, that Topper started managing Moe. And so I think he had just started managing him. We were still together. And then Ray, their drummer, was leaving. And I mentioned to Topper, and I mentioned to Jim. I was like, you guys, you should ask Jim to play. And Jim, you should ask Topper if you can get a tryout with this band. So Jim was the second drummer. And he played, I think, like from 92 to 95 or something like that. And then he left to join Yoke. And then they went through a couple drummers and then landed on me. But every time that they'd make a drummer change, Topper would call me and say, would you like to join the band? And I was always, because I had a real job and I had just bought a house in the suburbs, and I was like, how much? It was always the first thing I asked. And it was like, $60 and peanut butter, $60 in food, and a place to live.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do that because I was married,
Yeah.
And then after they signed the deal with Sony, and then we're making a drummer change, he called and asked, and I said, how much? And he said, $250 a week in health insurance. And it was like a difference. I was like, oh, hey, let me
health insurance.
Yeah. She's pregnant, but let's see if she'll go for it, which she did, and the rest is history. So,
well, I mean, it's like you mentioned. I mean, you've been married and a dad basically the entire time you've been in Moe.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly.
And so you've had your Moe marriage, and you've had your actual marriage. What was it tough being like? Was it tough doing both? I mean, I know you guys. I mean, you're pretty legendary for being out there on the road a pretty good amount of time, especially during the higher volume years.
Yeah.
It was rough?
Tough. It's still tough, like the hard part is leaving, and my kids are grown up now. Actually all our kids are pretty much grown up now. So like we've all kind of made it through. But yeah, there was a lot of tough, for all of us. It's like our kids are growing up. Our wives are home dealing with 2 or 3 kids, dealing with all the crap, and we're out on the road, playing rock music and, getting hammered at the end of the night, so that was hard, and missing certain things, birthdays, or, certain important band concert, or a, playoff sports game, whatever. That stuff is really hard. The other side of the coin is when you're home and you're off for 2 months or 8 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and you're nothing but there for every little thing. So, you did, at the end of the day, the quality time you did spend at home was probably more than you did if you had a real job and you only had weekends, and a couple of weeks of vacation a year. So we actually got to like really immerse ourselves in our family lives as well. Nice. So, yeah. And then, the other thing is, because we all have done this so long and all kind of had kids around the same time, the family extends out past, my wife and I and my kids now. Al and his wife and his kids, and Rob and his wife, and they're all part of this one big family. And now the kids, communicate with each other and stay in touch outside of the band,
Nice.
Which is so cool. They all grew up together, so.
Yeah. Well, I notice, obviously we've already talked about you being sort of a one band man type of guy. And that monogamy goes over your other relationship. I was looking at an article that was talking about you met your wife in 4th grade.
Correct.
And told your brother that day you were going to marry her.
Yes. I said that I met the girl, or I saw the girl that I want to marry. So
wow.
Took me to my senior year to start dating her, but
still, that's consistency. I can't decide on like what I'm going to eat for lunch, and you
to pre-phase it, whatever the word is. We grew up a couple blocks from each other, and we're in the same social clique the whole time. So she dated my friends, I dated her friends, that kind of thing. We just didn't get.
You're just always going around somewhere around.
Oh, eventually I just told her I had enough of not being with her, and that we should be together or we can't be friends. And we've been together ever since. So, yeah.
Ultimatum.
I guess it shows that I really don't like change. I like everything in my life to stay the same.
Like when it's good, why mess with it?
Right.
Why mess with it?
It's more consistency than change. You go through a lot of changes when your life is constantly in the state of motion. So,
Well, on the topic of family, I did notice there on Instagram, your family's Christmas picture on Instagram, and I gotta say, it's a solid pic.
Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna beat it. Like if you scroll back a couple Christmases, we always do a picture, and it can be pretty funny or interesting or whatever. And this year, like, tops it. My daughters came up with the idea, and like we were heading to Christmas at my brother's house, and she put it together in like 10 minutes, and it was out. And it was like, it's awesome. And it's like, how the hell are we going to beat that next year?
For the listeners that haven't seen it, great pick. It's sort of a late 80s, early 90s vibe, where everybody in the family is looking off screen, off camera, in one direction, in a unified direction. And then there are your cats' heads floating in the pic. Which I think I noticed earlier. You have a pride of tabby cats that seem to roam your house.
That is correct. It's like freaking Wild Kingdom around here. all tabbies too. 2 are lighter gray and 2 are dark.
My parents have had tabby cats for the last 20 years, something like that. They're some pretty fantastic cats. Yeah,
we've always been cat people. Never had tabbies until 10 years ago, and we got 2 sets of brothers, so we had 4 of them, and they are just the friendliest, coolest cats ever. And then we lost 2 of them, one of each brother, so we have one of each, and then we just got 2 new ones, and so they're amazing.
as Steve Austin, the former wrestler, would say, 2 solid cats, or in this case, 4 solid ass cats.
That's right.
Well, so back to Moe. Now, like you mentioned, you were in the sort of order, you were like the fourth or so drummer. They'd switched off really quick in those first couple of years.
Yeah.
So you had to play these other drummers' parts, which is always a little weird. But what of those early songs, was there a favorite of yours, like as far as actually playing of one of the other people's parts that you were like, this is fun to play?
Well, so Ray was the first drummer, and that was just when they were a college band. And then Jim joined, and Mo got a little more serious. And the parts got harder too because he was such a great drummer. So I never really played the parts like any of the other drummers did. Like the guy that came in after Jim kind of just played everything just like Jim would. And then the guy after that kind of did his own thing, but still stuck kind of to that. And I just played them like I would play the songs. I never really, I mean, the changes are the changes, but like I always played them because I kind of came from a different background musically. Yeah. And so my approach was a little different and kind of was more concerned with the groove than chops and some of the weird changey stuff, and I would relate it to like going from Bill Bruford and Yes to Alan White, how Alan White kind of straightened out a lot of those Yes songs. Yeah. I kind of did the same with some of the Mo stuff. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So, so something pretty wild in like the first, I think it was like around the first like 8 months after you joined the band. I mean, you were talking about Grateful Dead. You got to play. It was the Further Festival.
Yeah.
With the members of Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, that was like most of the bands that you had played in before Mo were cover bands of the Grateful Dead.
Yeah. I went from being in a Grateful Dead tribute band in Buffalo, which we were doing, this was before the Dark Star Orchestra. So, but we were doing something similar. Other than we didn't ever think we could go travel and, do that.
Yeah.
But, so we were doing that locally. And I went from that killer band, but I went from that band to 6-8 months later being on stage with those guys. And the thing is because I knew all the songs, I played in the All-Star Jam every night for that whole tour because like they could call out tunes and I was like, I'm in the opening band, I should be playing, but there'd be a beating. These are the songs. Does anybody know them? And I was always just like, well, I know all the songs. So I got to play. Well, I mean, not every night, but I think probably 3/4 of the nights I played in the game, which, wild. It was surreal to be, to go from a Dead tribute band to being on the stage with the Dead in 6 months or 8 months.
It reminds me of that Mark Wahlberg movie, Rockstar.
Rockstar, yeah.
Yeah. Just all of a sudden, one moment you're singing the songs, the next moment you're up there in front of the band.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa. Exactly. So, and then we continued our relationship with those guys for, quite a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And even still, we just don't, they don't do as much outside of what they're doing now. So you get a chance of connecting. And I mean, we just lost Phil, so that's, fortunate. So.
Well, so your dad, he was one of the main things that got you into music. He was a musician, jazz trumpeter.
Yeah.
He passed away, I think, in 1998. Is that correct?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. About a year and a half.
So did he really get to see the success of Mo in any way?
He did see some. He came when I first started. He came down to see us play at the Hammerstein Ballroom, which was a pretty big venue in New York. So he saw me there. He saw us play at Irving Plaza a couple times. So he had started coming to shows, and he was pretty psyched and shocked. And it'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe this and how good everything sounds. And, he wasn't a rock and roll guy. He was a jazz guy. But, we were doing it wasn't like we were playing really straight, easy songs. So I think he connected with music that way. And I think he really liked the sound because I remember him telling me, he's like, man, your drums sound amazing. Like I never heard drums sound so good in my life. So And we had talked a few times about we should probably try to get your dad up on stage, and then he passed away.
Oh, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
But now I hear your dad was a bit of a chef aside from the musician.
Yeah, I mean, a cook. I don't call you're a chef when you're working a restaurant and you make the menu and you head the kitchen. Otherwise, you're a cook, But so.
But any moron out there knows you're a bit of a cook as well.
Correct.
Now, did you get most of those culinary skills from your dad?
That is correct. Yes, most of them. My mom was a good cook as a home, as a mother.
Sure.
Cooking for her, but a lot of the real fresh, like the recipes and all the Italian stuff, all came from my dad.
Nice. What was your favorite thing he made? Was it the Chicken Riggies?
Probably the Chicken Riggies. Yeah, most likely. His sauces, his marinara sauce, filetto sauce, meat. So all those are like just phenomenal. So all that stuff I really dug that he made. So
I'll be honest
as well.
I've never had like the local Chicken Riggies before. And I watched video of you make it, and I got to be honest, those cherry peppers, they set things off. And I want to try it. I want to try it myself. See how it comes out. I don't know.
You won't be able to get it like that except for in Utica, and there's only a few places in Utica that'll actually cook it that way. Everybody's kind of changed the recipes or put their own stamp on them, whatever. That original recipe, like, just make it like it's on the video, and you'll get that. And if you cook, you'll kind of put your own, because you know how to cook and you know how much of each thing you like in your dish or how you like to spice something. So it'll have a little bit of your own touch to it because you'll just cook it like. Unless you're one that like follows a recipe to a T, then it'll taste, it'll have a little vibe of how you cook. And the thing is I didn't give any measurements anyway, so you kind of have to just throw it together,
Well, I mean, that's definitely the difference between a baker and a chef. The bakers, those are by the book people. I can't do it.
Well, you can't improvise baking because there's a lot of chemistry involved, and if you don't do something right, then the chemistry doesn't work, and then the whole thing is shot.
Well, that's the thing is I always actually equate it. I say cooks are basically biologists, chefs are bakers are basically chemists, and the biologists just throw crap in until it works. But I'll try. The only thing with the cherry peppers, I can never tell. You never tell until you bite into them, till you try them. How spicy one is. Like,
right. Well, so the hot, like if you buy the jarred ones, just buy the hot ones. They're all going to be pretty hot, and just don't use too many. The beauty of hot cherry peppers, they're not nearly as hot as other peppers.
Oh yeah.
So they're hot. But they taste really good, but they're not like...
They got that flavor, yeah.
They don't burn your mouth off hot. Like, you're not using a habanero, or you're not using even a...
Hot jalapeno,
hot jalapeno. Or even, like the Italian long hots. They're so freaking hot,
They get there.
Yeah. So, like, it's... You use 3 or 4 of those peppers in a pound of pasta, and it's about the right heat.
Yeah. Well, back to music.
I know. Sorry.
Do you? I was looking at this, and this was right around. I went on Spotify, and I was cruising around. Just all the top 10 there. Do you know what has the most streams offhand? What song?
I believe that it's In a Big Country or Ripple, which neither of them, like Ripple, we didn't really play on. Al or somebody might have played on it when we did that Jerry thing a few years back. But In a Big Country gets a lot of plays,
well, the most streams as far as cumulative streams is Nebraska.
Oh, good. Okay, good. It's one of us.
Do you agree with them? Is that one of your favorite Moe songs?
it's a great song. I wouldn't call it like we've written so many songs that are more interesting to play, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, Nebraska is a really good, like, it's like a pop song almost, you know. And, I mean, it's a rock song. It's not really, and it's very palatable to the mainstream. So
Yeah.
And Rob, I mean, it's a great freaking song, and we still play it, you know, fairly, you know, regularly. So and we all love to play it, and you know, Chuck's solo in the middle with the talk box and everything is awesome. And I'm glad that it's one of the songs, you know, it definitely like is a really good snapshot of what we do.
Yeah.
So for people that hadn't heard us, go listen to Nebraska, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now you guys, I mean, the career, you've had so many huge shows. You know, I was looking back, I was just going through all these awesome times. Played huge venues, of course, played Red Rocks, I don't know, a dozen times somewhere around there. Radio City Music Hall. And you don't strike me as a guy that would get super nervous. Were you getting extra butterflies on any of those shows? Do you remember any that you were like, whew, this is big?
You know, like, not really butterflies as much as like not playing well because of the situation. So it's like the big game. I'm not going out there and like throwing up before I get on stage.
Yeah.
But like all of a sudden you're just trying too hard.
A little tight.
You know, like, almost like forcing and then just be comfortable. And that's happened on some of those big shows. It's happened to us at Red Rocks. It's happened to us at Radio City. It's happened to us at the Fox in Atlanta, you know, but like you settle in, the whole show doesn't end up sucking. You either, you know, get off stage and go like, why are we doing this? Like, just chill out and have fun, you know? And then we always come back in the second set and chill out and have fun. Yeah. Or, you know, maybe after like 2 or 3 songs, just, you know, someone gives you a look and like, come on, you know, whatever. But it's not like, I wouldn't say anybody really ever is like, you know, like I said, like nervous to the point where you're going to get sick before the show. You know? It's really just, we end up overplaying or forcing stuff rather than just being relaxed.
Yeah. And I mean, I think with you guys, especially with as dedicated a fan base as you have, it's always nice to remember like, we don't have to win them over.
Right.
They're already excited to see us.
Yeah. Right.
And I've always been amazed. I've talked to a couple people on the show that's the thing is that they'll tell me like how nervous they get, and I'm like, yeah, but those are all your fans.
Right.
Like they're happy to see you. Like you can screw up, and they'll be like, woohoo! You know, like,
they love to screw up.
Exactly. It usually makes them more happy.
Yeah, it makes us look human, I guess. Yeah. That's the thing. So
yeah. Well, now you guys have also the performances with the big artist, of course. There were a bunch of them that I was looking at, and like one I saw you talk about just a little bit was you guys opened for Robert Plant back in the day. You know, the almighty Zepp, and you actually got to hang out with him like after shows a couple of times, and I was wondering, do you have any like cool stories that he threw down on you or anything that happened as far as Robert Plant stories?
Well, every night, believe it or not, he would come down and hang out. So I don't know, we did 2 weeks or 16. I don't know what, I can't remember, however many shows it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I don't know if his band didn't hang or if he was sick of hanging with his band. Down every night after the show, shirt down, you know, button down, like you could almost see his belly button, you know, and he'd, you know, crack open a red stripe and he'd just sit there and just start, telling stories. And I know he did tell a lot of them. I don't remember. I was so like, I can't believe I'm freaking sitting here, hanging with Robert Plant that I don't remember a lot of them. I do remember we had a day off somewhere. And back then we were all kind of golfing a little bit. And we ran into him in the hotel parking lot. And he busted our balls because we were going golfing. Like, you guys are supposed to be rock stars, and here you are golfing. Meanwhile, he's walking through the freaking parking lot in like tennis gear. Like, so he had tennis shorts and a tennis shirt on. And I was like, golfing? Yeah, you're busting on us. And look at what you're wearing. You know, so we got to be like, you know, it was a very comfortable situation. And, you know, he could have been a rock star and he never was. You know, he was
Yeah.
absolutely gentleman. He liked hanging out with us. He liked telling the stories. It was great, you know, and he's the golden god, so we were pretty freaking psyched, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that I would definitely be in your shoes of like, play it cool.
Yeah.
How are you looking? You got like, but I do have to go back. Yeah.
But I remember one other thing. I remember saying to him one night, like one of the first nights, I'm like, man, you're gonna think I was like gonna think to sound stupid or whatever, and not, you know, I didn't say that, but I was like, hey, I just want to thank you for my career, because without Led Zeppelin, I would have never done what I did. And he's like, shut up, mate. You know, you're a great player, whatever, you know. And I was like, no, but really, like, without Bonham and Led Zeppelin, I probably would have never taken, you know, I would have never taken drums to the level that I took it. So
Nice.
You know, I remember saying that to him.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, I do going back to tennis. I got to be honest. Golf wins.
I know.
I mean, as far
I don't
as
know if he was playing tennis. He was just dressed like he was.
I think that's even worse if he's just walking around in the sweater and the shorts. Like, at least, come on, at least hit the racket a little bit.
Right.
Well, you also got to open up for the Who back in 2006.
Yeah.
And I don't get the feeling that Roger and Pete were as social as Robert Plant.
They were not.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you know, Al tried to get an album signed by Pete backstage, and like Pete was going to like sign autographs for fans, and Al got the stiff arm from his security, and Al never was able to even get signed, and we never met them or anything.
Wow.
So we ate catering with the band, but they never were there. You know, they came in like different sides of the auditorium, showed up on stage and played the show and left. And I don't even remember talking or meeting the band, really. They were just, they kept to themselves. We kept to ourselves, and we never met Roger or Pete.
Well, I mean, I can't say that's great opening hospitality, but at least there wasn't like just all negative stories. There's no stories at all. There was nothing. Yeah. Well,
the funny thing is that Robert Plant like was opening for the Who, and then we jumped on the tour right after he left. So it's kind of interesting, you know. And I think we went back on and did more shows with them after. So
man, I wonder. I would like to get Robert Plant and ask him if they talked to him. Robert, did you get to talk to him?
Right, I'm sure they did.
I'm sure. Well, let's fast forward to the new album. It's been a good 4 years since the last album. Yeah. And you guys had some hurdles to get over for this album.
Yeah.
Just sort of in general, you know, soundscape. I've taken a listen to it. I got the link to it. I took a listen to it. How do you think it compares to the previous albums?
So, this is our second album in a row with Tank, with Ben Collette at the helm of engineering, and he's more comfortable in his studio because we were the first band there since he moved it, and now he's been in there for a while. We've been in there for a while. Yeah. The working situation was amazing. Like it was very efficient.
Yeah,
everything went quick. Everything went well. And we just did the CD release or the album release last weekend. And,
yep.
You know, I had put those songs away other than the ones we had been playing on regular rotation, which isn't all of them. And I went back and listened to everything to just brush up on some stuff, and it's amazing. The album sounds freaking great. And I was like, holy crap, I can't believe how good this freaking album sounds. So soundscape wise, it sounds amazing. And, you know, we did things, we didn't feel at the time we were doing things that much differently to get anything, but like the ideas of what the songs wanted to sound like came through very well. So some of those, you know, the songs, you know, some of the ones that have the longer kind of jammy ends or the soundscapey sort of things at the end, they're really pretty psychedelic and good sounding. But not in like, I don't know, they're not even like jam bandy. They're just good songs with, you know, nice kind of music going along with them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now you, this was the first album with Nate on it,
Yep.
Nate Wilson, and he started with the band after Chuck's stroke.
Correct.
How quickly? Because like I mean, he came in sort of as a tour guy. This was this was to supplement the sound there and whatnot.
Right.
How quickly did it sort of become apparent that he was gonna be a full-time member? That you guys started looking and going, maybe.
2017, 2016. No, we had played with Nate a bunch. Him coming and filming in or sitting in, whatever. And there was a time when we discussed bringing him in, and then Rob got cancer. Then we came back, and then COVID, and then Chuck. So like, it never seemed to come to fruition. And then he came and filled in for Chuck. And I think the rest of us were all kind of like, yeah, he kind of should be in the band, So plus we needed him vocally as much as we love his keyboard playing and his musicality, because Chuck can't quite sing the same way he used to, and isn't able to do all the backgrounds he used to.
Yeah.
So that was a very important piece to the whole puzzle.
Yeah.
But having him in the band, I mean, he's such a great guy, and he's such a great musician, that he fits right in. It works very well.
Well, he's a sort of classically trained musician in the sense of like educationally, right?
Correct. Well, he's both has. I think he early on was classically trained, but I believe that I think he has a degree from the New England Conservatory in jazz performance. I believe. I'm 100% certain of that, but so he's got quite a background in jazz.
Yeah, and just
well as
sort of musical theory in general in that way.
Yeah, he kind of helps the whole band out in a lot of ways that way, and especially like if we do a lot of segue, and like a lot of our improvising goes through the segues. So he's corrected some issues we had either vocally or in some of the songs, and also he can get us from point A to point B musically on the keyboard pretty nicely sometimes, and he helps me out a lot because I when I write a set list, I'm not taking into account the keys of the songs. So people get, certain guys in the band get pissed or like, well, how
we gotta adjust,
be able to get from here to here? And Nate's like, oh, it's easy, just go do this, and then I'm like, thanks, Nate.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, because otherwise it either gets shot down or Rob gets real pissed at me, like, so.
Well, did he end up writing any of the songs on like sort of taking the lead on writing any of the songs on the new album, or was it more just his parts that he was putting in on this one?
He has three songs that he wrote, and a fourth song that I think he wrote the music to that Rob put the lyrics on.
Wow.
So yes, he did. Yeah. So In Stride, Yellow Tigers, Giants, and Backcountry all have Nate music on it. Yeah. And then he lyrically did the other three.
Just jumped on there. Just jumped in.
Yep. Jumped in. I mean, the songs are great. They're kind of a little bit of a departure from Moe, but they're rockers. Like, it's all rock and roll. So we, as a band, we're able to, come in and play some pretty rocking stuff with them. So
what do you think is like? I mean, you said like it's a departure from Moe a little bit. What's different? Like what's away from that normal sort of Moe sound people are used to?
A little bit more blues and classic rock. A little more straightforward blues and classic rock. I mean, Moe always
a little less, more psychedelic.
Yeah, and Moe puts some weirdness into some of their songs in the construction of this. I shouldn't say weirdness, but like
uniqueness,
a little more, unique. Or there's some prog sections of something where we just I always called it Moeizing it, just make it, like not so straightforward.
Yeah.
And Nate's songs were a little bit more, straight in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But riff-based rock and roll, which we do a lot of as well. So it fits great in the overall scheme.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now I've, like I said, I took a pass at the album. I enjoyed a lot of the songs. I like Giants, Go To, Band in the Sky was great.
That's that one.
Now, if you were telling me like, and this isn't the best song, but if you were to tell me to go to one song that like you're most excited about people hearing on this new album, what do you think?
I'd say Backcountry.
Backcountry. I
really
like it.
Like that one a lot. I mean, that has definitely has some Santana influence to it, and I was a big Santana fan, so like but it showcases like the drums percussion thing that happens, and Nate's got a cool solo in it and stuff. It's a really, I mean, everybody does. It's a really it's a cool song. It's very cool.
It is. Absolutely. The whole album is fantastic. And Vinny, I don't want to take up any more of your time, man. I want to thank you for coming on the show, and I can't wait for the album to come out, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's what's tomorrow, 29th, so we got 3 days left.
That's it.
That's it. On all your streaming services.
It will be there. And I mean, of course, they're still available hard copies, right?
I do believe that we still have vinyl, and to my surprise, we actually were selling CDs at the album release, and I didn't even know we were making CDs. And I've had people recently going, "Hey, you got any CDs?" And I'm like, "CDs? Who listens to CDs?" But I guess all of a sudden people are like, "We have all this gear. Why ending it?" So
did you get into the crazy world of cassettes? Some of those people have been digging back into cassettes
I haven't gotten back into it. I still have a box or two full of them in my basement that I couldn't bring myself to throw in the garbage. So
of course you can't get rid of old music.
I used to collect Grateful Dead bootlegs, so I have hundreds of them. And the thing is, they sound like shit compared to like re-listen or like you can get all that stuff now. Digitally remastered and everything. Sounds awesome. So there's no reason to go back and listen to them, but for posterity I kept them.
You got to keep them. I think honestly, I've had guys from Goose on the show. I've had guys from Perpetual Groove on the show. Everybody that's in the jam band scene that was a Grateful Dead fan can't get rid of those tapes. They keep them. They keep them.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, like Vinny said, make sure you get the new album coming out this Friday. Right now, let's take a listen to the single that's already out there, Ups and Downs, right here on the Doc G Show. And we are back here on the Doc G Show. Vinnie Amico, Moe, Mike. Moe. Yeah. Buffalo, New York. Mike, what would be your number one dish that you can make? What's your go-to dish?
My, the thing that I'm most proud of at the moment is steaks. I can make steaks. I know that's not really okay. So actually, let me take that back. It's not a dish though. It's a dessert.
That's good. That's a dish.
Okay, macaroons. I'm killing it with the
really?
Macaroons. Oh yeah, I take them to parties. People are like, "How'd you make these? What did you?"
And you're like, "With my bare hands. That's how I made them."
Yes.
All right.
Bare hands, and then I have like a recipe in my phone that I text them, and it's a lot of
TLC.
Texture, and then also being very OCD. I don't know if that's the right term.
Definitely
but,
obsessive. You gotta
toasting the coconut to the right. Flipping it. Everything that I do with the macaroons, everything is very measured, very precise.
Are you going to open a macaroon store at some point in your life?
I don't know.
I like it.
I could see that.
Do it, Mike. Yeah. Do it.
Are there stores that just sell macaroons?
Yeah, sure.
Coconut macaroons.
Sure. I mean, that's an alliteration already right there. Mike's Macaroons. Get your M&Ms, man. And these are the real M&Ms.
yeah.
You'll get a cease and desist order pretty quick on that one, but still,
So true.
Regardless, man, my gosh, what a career Vinnie has had, and just 30 years in a band. Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man. Get out there, check out their new album, Circle of Giants, coming out here at the end of the week. Gonna be fantastic.
That's right.
Mike, we need to move on to the fastest growing segment in the world.
Mike C. Top 3.
Correct. Now,
Wait, Doc G, I'm so sorry. Let's back up a little bit because now I'm curious. What is your dish?
that's a good question. I don't know.
What is your signature move right now?
I mean, honestly, I guess I would take it back to what I made for my dad. I guess I would have to say a little stroganoff.
Stroganoff, yeah.
That would be pretty good. Although it's like you, I'm just following a recipe, so it's like I always feel like that's sort of cheating, right? Like when you're like saying it's like my go-to dish, and then it's somebody else's recipe. I'm like, well, I'm just following these notes,
But there's so much nuance though, because the way that you make the hamburger, the texture of the noodles, like how much care goes into it.
Oh yeah.
I think is what separates it from
the recipe. By the way, I'm making sirloin stroganoff. This isn't some kind of crappy just hamburger beef here.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's high quality meat we're talking about in this stroganoff, first of all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my secret, Mike. And I mean, it's not really a secret, but anytime you make a dish, you got to buy the best ingredients. You can't cheap on it and get like some kind of crappy stuff. If you get you get what you put in, Mike. You get out what you put in, and if you put in quality, that's old classic from any Italian chef. They'll tell you. Like when I was watching the old Stanley Tucci show where he was going around Italy. That was like what every single one of them would just hammer home was like, it's what ingredients you put in. They have to be the freshest. They have to be the best. And if they are, it's going to shine through. They're going to taste amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's what separates it, man. You get the recipe, that's good, but it's how do you execute it. And that's.
But Mike, we already announced the Mike C top 3.
We did.
This is carryover because I was a lazy sack. We all remember that, and I forgot to make my list. Mike, don't have no fear. I made it this week.
Cool.
And this was. I thought initially the hip hop and the R&B would be more difficult, Mike. Turns out rock was more difficult.
Yeah.
I have way more honorable mentions on rock pop than I did on hip hop.
Me too.
And so, Mike, for the listeners, remember we did 90s rock and pop one-hit wonders. Now, Mike, I have 53 honorable mentions.
We should do the top 3 first, and then take turns with honorable mentions.
You think so?
What do you think? Well, because I don't know. I mean, I definitely don't have that many honorable mentions, but there seem to be a lot of the same songs, mentioned, when you kind of go back and you look at I feel like we should just do top 3 and then honorable mentions.
Okay. All right.
Because I know you're going to hit all of my top 3 in your honorable mentions. I just absolutely know.
Well, actually, I don't know. I was telling my brother this because we were talking about the top 3, and I was like, I feel like Mike's going to pull out some kind of weird thing that I don't have on there. I feel like it. So we'll see. We'll see. But I will do one honorable mention that needs to stand apart because, I feel like it's even closer for me than all the others. So this is like double honorable mention. So first double honorable mention, Chumbawamba, Tub Thumping. It didn't make my top 3, but I love that song.
Sweet.
It's fantastic, so I'm just going to put it there. Now, my number 3, Mike. Number 3 drum roll, here it is. 7. Yep. Yeah, that was the drum roll, everybody.
Sorry.
Hit it again real quick.
Sorry.
7 Marry 3, Cumbersome.
Okay.
Have you ever heard it, Mike?
I mean, I definitely have heard it, but you know, it was a top song.
It definitely, you heard it much more on rock radio when it came out. And it was a very popular song on rock radio. Very sort of post-grunge sound to it. And just, my God, Mike, it's one of those that when I first heard it, I just loved it. And then it's like the way, in my opinion, music should always be. I'm always offended by those people that say they like hear lyrics first, and I'm like, huh? What kind of weirdo are you? That you just hear a lyric and you're like, oh, I automatically connect to this. Like, the thing that people should hear, in my opinion, it's music, but is the melody. You hear the melody and you're like, oh my God, I can't get this out of my head, right? Or the chorus, you can't get it out of your head. Mm-hmm. And then, if you really connect with the song, then you start listening to the lyrics and you're like, holy this talks about something that I can connect with exactly. Like, and it's just like a relationship. You see a really attractive lady, you talk to her for a while, and then you go, oh, me and her actually connect, as opposed to a song that you like for a while, and then you go, oh, you know what? She sucks, actually. I'm not big into this.
Oh, this song's about suicide.
Yeah, exactly. No, you know what? Yeah, not my cup of tea.
That was nice at first.
Yeah, but 7 Marry 3, Mike. That's the thing. It's all about, the song is all about going out with a lady. And again, I feel like the lyrics are fairly obvious, but maybe they intended something else. But this is my interpretation. They're all about going out with a lady and you sort of separating, and you can tell that she doesn't like you anymore. But you can't do anything about it because it's her feelings. It doesn't matter how you try to win her over. You're just annoying to her. You are cumbersome. There's nothing else that you can do. You try to build it up. You try to make yourself the bad boy that doesn't give a shit. Try to do other things, and she's just like, nah, I don't really like you anymore. And it's about that frustration and that anger. And I feel like every lady and every dude has been there at some point in a relationship. It takes two, Mike, and you just can't do anything when one of those people doesn't care.
Yeah, it reminds me of the theme of that song, "What a Fool Believes," or like what. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Is that the song?
Yeah.
What a Fool Believes.
It's that idea of just I can't.
You'll never win them over,
and there's no point. And that's like the thing. It's like you're gonna try, but just go ahead and let it be, because you're not going to win them over.
Guys have a hard time with that one.
Oh, it's very. You want what you can't have. And you eventually you get hopefully you grow out of it and you realize at some point in time, like when that happens, you go, oh, still sucks, but you can just sort of be like, oh, well, there's nothing I can do. Move on, you know? Because you aren't. Like, that's the thing, is like you try harder, they're just going to hate you more then. Like, it just makes it even more undesirable, you know? But anyways, that's my number 3, Mike. Just such a fantastic song. Your number 3,
nice. Mike. My number 3, Doc G, Stereo MCs Connected. Of course, that was in the Jordan Last Dance soundtrack. I heard that song, and I was like, oh man, that was a jam. It brings back a lot for me.
I was torn, Mike. I almost didn't put it on my honorable mentions because it has such a high hip-hop connections that I was like...
It does have, I was kind of...
I felt like I was like, I sort of just missed it on that one. But I was like, I still put it on there just because it's a jam. So it's definitely a good one. Yeah. And it's such a good part of the documentary, because that's where he proves everybody wrong, because they were all talking about all of his gambling habits and how he wasn't going to beat the New York Knicks. And then they were like... And that's the great Phil Jackson line when it comes in. And he's like, so he had to prove it to him, and prove it he did. And then it comes in.
Yeah,
it's
Such a good song. Such a good documentary.
Oh, it's an amazing documentary. I've seen it roughly 75,000 times. Mike, my number 2, No Rain, Blind Melon. One of my favorites, Mike. And I feel a lot of things, Mike. One, I don't think this would have been a one-hit wonder had their lead singer lived. Had Shannon Hoon not overdosed on drugs, I think they would have had another song. He was just way too talented of a guy not to be able to come up with another banger of some sort. But it's just such a good song. Like,
yeah, it is, man. Good feel-good song.
It's just, and it's so like at a time that everybody was so grungy too, you know, because it was grunge music. It harkened back to like the like 70s singer-songwriters and more of the folk music, and you had this light, airy feel through it, and and it's also amazing. It's not as amazing as my number 1 for this, Mike, but on Spotify, it has over 500 million listens now.
Say what?
Which, when you think about that, it missed all of its popularity, right? I mean, this song came out 20-some years before Spotify started, and yet it still has 500 million streams. Just think if it came out when Spotify existed, it would have like 2 billion streams. Like,
oh yeah, easy.
Crazy.
Easy.
But anyways, Mike, you're number 2.
So I don't, Doc G, I'm very much stuck at when I listen to music, for the most part, I just love the melody, and I don't really
you don't have to go
for the most
deeper.
Part.
Yeah.
So for me, it's "Save Tonight" by Eagle Eye Cherry.
Mike, that's by the way, great choice. That's what I would call a music slut. That's what you are. You just go from song to song, being like, "Oh, this makes me feel it." Yeah. And then you move on to the next one, you know. And I gotta say, I like it. I like it. That's what I do too. And yes, Eagle Eye Cherry on my honorable mentions. Mike, fun fact: the band that I was in back in the day, we used to do a cover of that a lot. That was that was one that we used to cover a lot, and I would do the harmonies on that. I would always
that's nice.
I would sing the harmonies on that one, but it was good jam. Good jam.
That would be so fun to be in a band and play that song. That would be one.
I mean,
of them.
honestly, like most of like the 90s jams, I'd always get excited when the other guys in my band would be like, "Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, it sounds good." Our lead singer guitarist Heath, shout out to Heath. He's not listening, so him. Heath would definitely, and if he is, Heath, totally shout out to you without.
We love you.
Exactly. But Heath, he was a bit of a major release guy. He didn't like the mainstream, No, not that he didn't like mainstream, but he didn't like just like he didn't want just like one of the huge, like he wasn't going to be like, all right, we're going to do Nirvana, or we're going to do, like he wanted, if he was doing a certain era, to be a little bit more undercover. And I get it, especially with like covers. Because you don't want to cover just something massive, because there's that no-win situation there. People are going to be like, that sucked, But if you play a song that not everybody knows, then like,
Yeah, I can
but like
see that.
most people know Eagle Eye Cherry, so
Yeah.
But we also did Cumbersome, Mike. We also played that as well. 7 Mary 3. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, Mike. My number 1. Number 1. And this, I did this, like, are there songs that I could potentially like more than this from the 90s that are one-hit wonders? Yes. But I feel like this hits more of, like, the one-hit wonder thing than any of the other groups. And it's just a masterpiece in this one song. And that would be What's Up? 4 Non-Blondes. Woohoo! The song is amazing.
Nice. Okay.
The song I'm gonna try to do it. I'll probably just cut this, but the song that So I wake up in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream at the top of my lungs, what's going on?
Yeah, man, that's a great song. And I said, hey, yeah, that's a good song. Okay,
and and I mean the breakdown of that song when she gets to the part and I pray. Oh my God, do I pray? Gives me chills every time I hear it, Mike.
Yeah.
It's just...
How are they a one-hit wonder with a song like that? Well, I guess that's how it is.
Linda Perry, the lead singer, the songwriter, she was a great, I mean, she still is. She's a great songwriter. She wrote songs for all kinds of giant pop artists after that. Like, I mean, she wrote songs. I want to say, don't quote me on this, but I want to say she wrote with, like, Pink. I know she wrote with Pink. She wrote with like Christina Aguilera. Like there were just like all kinds of other, but like, yeah, Mike. I mean, when you look at that and you look on Spotify, it's got over 1 billion streams. Like I was just saying for No Rain, this came out 20 years before Spotify, and it's got 1 billion. There are only like, I don't know how many, but I think it's like in the hundreds, like it's like 150 or something that have over 1 billion streams on Spotify. It's got 1 billion, man. It's one of the most streamed songs on Spotify, and it came out 20 years before the thing existed. Like people are going back to find that jam, and it's amazing. It is an amazing.
That's
amazing
one of those
song.
why I think like No Rain I think would have. I know you said like 2 billion. I mean I know I feel like you're being generous, man. I feel like it would have 10 billion. 20 years, 500 million plays already.
If you had accumulation.
And then when it was at the height of it, people were playing that song.
Well, you sort of wonder. I mean, just in general, it's sort of like comparing athletes from different generations. It's sort of impossible to do it, but you do wonder, like, it's like if streaming existed with like the Beatles or Elvis, like there was so less to choose from and it was so homogenous at the time that you would imagine they'd have like 80 billion streams or something in like a couple year span. So it's just it's sort of hard to compare, but like it's just, to me it's insane that a song that came out that, because like you look at all your huge artists like the Beatles and like Led Zeppelin, for the most part all of their songs are like, they're hundreds of millions of streams, but they're in hundreds of millions. It's not 1 billion. Like, and she's got the Four Non Blondes, 1 billion, over 1 billion streams.
Man, they just come out with that lightning strike song.
Yeah. You're number one, Mike.
All right, Doc G, this is kind of lame, but it's Barely Breathing by Duncan Sheik.
Yeah.
I love that song.
I'm barely
Have I cried
breathing.
To it, maybe?
Ooh, for another day. Yeah, it's a good jam, man.
Great jam.
It is a good jam. Was that post breakup?
Oh, every breakup, man. It was Barely Breathing right after that.
I can't handle it. No.
Just crying.
Little bit of a different path.
And my Toyota Yaris. Oh no!
I was over there with 7 Mary 3 breaking, and Mike was over there crying to Duncan Sheik. So there we go.
Yeah, man.
There we go.
All the heartstrings.
I've got it, Mike. I've got it on the list, the honorable mention. So here we go, Mike. Yeah. I'm gonna listen. Stop me on any of these if they strike a chord or you've got them. Just to point it out. So first one, Sex and Candy, Marcy's Playground. You know that one, Mike?
No, I don't.
Oh,
actually.
you know
it. I would know the song. Yeah, I would know the song.
I smell sex and candy
yeah.
here. Who's that man? Yeah.
I'm surprised that's not on my... but yeah.
Bittersweet Symphony, The Verve. You got that one?
No, but it almost made the list.
That's a late 90s. That's a late 90s. This is a deep cut. Once there was this girl who got into an accident and couldn't. Did you ever hear that song? Crash Test Dummies?
I don't think so.
Oh, man. That is a weird one, but it is a classic. Go back and
I got
Crash Test Dummies. Next one, Feed the Tree, Belly. Got Feed the Tree, Belly?
No.
That's a solid one.
No.
That's more of a deep cut, too. That's an alternative there. Closing Time, Semisonic, of course. That was actually close to being on the top 3 for me, Closing Time.
Yeah.
Closing Time.
Oh, yeah, man.
And then next, Breakfast at Tiffany's, Deep Blue Something. That's a jam right there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my brother said this would be close to his top 3. Counting Blue Cars, Dishwalla. That's a jam. I am a pretty big, huge fan of Counting Blue Cars, too. Next, My Own Worst Enemy, Lit. That's a jam. Next on the list, Song 2, Blur. Next on the list, Got You Where I Want You, The Flies. Next on the list, The Way, Fastball. Next on the list, Love Fool, The Cardigans.
Yeah, see, that's on my list too, man, but I don't know if they were a one-hit wonder, but Loveful is very much, it's way more played than all of their
Oh, no, they're a
music
one-hit
by
wonder.
A factor of, yeah.
Yeah.
All
No,
right.
no. You might just be a
I just
fan of
became
the
a fan.
Cardigans.
I think I just became a fan after that
Yeah,
song.
no. If you
Okay.
look at the numbers, that's it.
Okay.
Like,
all right.
and I mean that. Yeah. To your defense, that's what anybody does. That's a fan of a lot of these songs. They become,
They're not a one-hit wonder.
Yeah,
don't you?
they become a fan of all their music. So it's like, come on, man. They make you
hilarious.
become a sounding board for what the artist thinks as well. Like, made other songs, you turd bags. Listen to the other
Yeah.
ones. Anyways, next on the list, Life is a Highway, Tom Cochran. That was very close to my top 3,
Wow.
Mike.
Okay.
Life is that is such a jam. Now, what's the band? The goofy country band redid this. Rascal Flatts redid that, and I think it actually has more streams than the Tom Cochran version on Spotify. But anybody out there right now, I will argue with any of you, the Tom Cochran version is better. It's more rock. It's better. It doesn't have Rascal Flatts' whiny voice. That's right, I said it. Anyways, Life is a Highway. That's just such. If you're on a road trip, Mike, you have to have Life is a Highway on there. That's like, it's the go-to. When you're riding down the road and the sun is getting close to setting and the shadows are hitting the car, Life is a Highway.
Yeah.
It's jamming.
Feel good song.
Blue, Eiffel 65. You got to have it on there. I'm blue. Dabba-dee-ba-da-doo,
Yeah.
dabba-doo. Jam. Cannonball, The Breeders. That's a jam right there. That's a good one. Better Days, Citizen King. Butterfly, Crazy Town. That's also got a lot of hip hop undertones, but it's still a rock song. So
Yeah, for sure.
Bop, Hanson. Meredith Brooks, I'm a bitch, I'm a lover,
yeah.
I'm a child, I'm a mother, I'm a sinner, I'm a saint. That's a good jam.
It is.
The Proclaimers, I'm Gonna Be. You know that song. That's an early 90s one, Mike. That's the, I would walk 500 miles I would walk 500 more. Macarena, Los Del Rio. Mike, that's one, I had to put it on there just because of its massive fame, you know?
Oh, man, huge.
But at the same time, me and my brother were talking about it. It's like, isn't it weird when that happens? When just everybody in the world is like, hey, you know what's cool? 3 old guys that sing Macarena, like, and have this weird dance that go with it. Like, how did we all just decide as a world that we're like, yeah, this is dope. We're going to do this. Like, it's the same thing with, how did we decide that we were like, hey, you know what's cool? Letting the dogs out. Like, who let the dogs out become this just world sensation that everybody was like, yeah, pretty dope. Like, it's just
There's something catchy about it, man.
so weird.
The Macarena.
It was everywhere, man. Everybody, you had to get out there.
And it comes with a dance that's pretty easy to do.
And you can't not think of Dr. Evil. Ducka, 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 ducka. Oh. Barbie Girl, Aqua Mike. Ooh, trendsetters right there. They were Barbie movie before Barbie movie, man, and that is a jam. Runaway Train, Soul Asylum. Ooh, good one. That getting your feels right there, Mike. You want to feel depressed and like you're gonna slit your wrist.
That's a pretty
that's
depressing
the one.
song.
Black Velvet, Alana Miles. Ooh, that's a couple of these are right on the line. They are very close to being 80s one-hit wonders because they're 90 and, they're right there.
Yeah.
You gotta be Desiree. You gotta be tough. You gotta be na-na-na-na-na-na. Lou Bega, Mambo number 5. Yeah. Another one that you're like, really? This is what everybody decided. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Pretty close to Macarena.
Next one. I'm Too Sexy. Right Said Fred. Yeah. I'm too sexy, man. For my hat, for my shirt, everything. On your list, Barely Breathing, Duncan Sheik. There we go.
Yeah.
How Bizarre. OMC.
How Bizarre. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's on my honorable mentions.
More Than Words, Extreme. That's another one. Very close. Came out like January 26, 1990. Barely made it into the 90s. Roll to Me, Delamitri.
Yep. Got that one.
One of Us, Joan Osborne. You Get What You Give, New Radicals. Cotton Eye Joe, Rednecks. Yeah. Such a jam, Mike. Couldn't have, all the way until I graduated high school, you couldn't have a pep rally without them playing a little Cotton Eye Joe. That was always in any pep rally. Especially in my hillbilly town, of course we're playing Cotton Eye Joe.
Same.
Next on my list, and my brother actually said, fun fact in case you guys are wondering, my brother said this would be his top one. Unbelievable, EMF. You're unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's a jam. And that's again, it's another one that came out in 1990. It was right there. I think that's one of the reasons why my brother loves it so much, because he's such a 80s fiend too. Walking in Memphis, Mark Cohn. Such a jam. Love that one. This is another one very close to my top 3, Mike. The Impression That I Get, Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Everything Falls Apart, Dog Eye View. Good jam. New Age Girl, Dead Eye Dick. Also solid jam. Flagpole Sitta, Harvey Danger. Very good jam. That one was close to my top 3. Wait, Huffamoose. Very close to being on the top. Here and Now, Letters to Cleo. Here and Now, actually, they were on, our Letters to Cleo, they were on Parks and Rec. They did a little guest spot on Parks and Rec.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dream All Day, The Posies. This is definitely such a one-hit wonder. Standing outside a broken phone booth with money in my hand.
Oh man, that was definitely an honorable mention for me, and I listened to it like 3 or 4 times after I rediscovered that song. So good.
Primitive Radio Gods definitely did not come out with any other songs close to that, and that was a major success with the old B.B. King background as B.B. King sample on it. I've been down harder, baby. I've been down harder, baby. Ever since the day.
Great song.
In the Meantime, Space Hog, Possum Kingdom, Toadies, Bittersweet Symphony, The Verve. Oh, wait, I think I already had that one. That was a repeat. Sorry.
You mentioned it.
Meat Puppets, Backwater. Love that. Now, a lot of big-time, like, grunge art fans would get mad at me, but, yeah, that was the only top 40 song they had was Backwater. And to me, again, a lot of people would get very angry at me for saying this. It's definitely my favorite Meat Puppets song, too. Fun fact, Mike, Nirvana Unplugged, they did 3 Meat Puppet songs, and it made them very popular. That's actually what sort of really helped Meat Puppets get fame, was being on those songs. Last on my list, the Rembrandts, I'll Be There For You, Friends theme song.
Oh, yeah.
Huge jam, man, and it's a good song.
Yeah, man.
It's a good song. And back in the day, if you were alive when that song came on, that was a Casey Kasem classic. They played the crap out of that on the old Top 40. Anyways, Mike, what did I miss? What do you got?
This was close to my top 3. Vertical Horizon, Everything You Want.
Yep. Yep. I wouldn't put...
Sunny Came Home.
Vertical Horizon would be tough. I wouldn't put that... Like,
yeah, they
have some other
not
jams.
A one-hit wonder. Yeah,
they have some other jams. So that one would be tough. But anyways, what's the next one?
Yeah, Sunny Came Home.
Yep.
Sean Colvin. Steal My Sunshine.
Talk about depressing. The Sunny Came Home. That one. Oh God.
Yeah, that was pretty
that's
bad.
Rough. Steal My Sunshine, of course, isn't depressing, but it gets. I'll be honest, it gets a little bit nauseating for me a little bit. Like it's cool for like a minute, and then I'm like, okay, I've got enough of it. Like,
that's why I almost didn't even want to mention it as an honorable mention, but it was definitely a one-hit wonder.
I was about to say it was everywhere. That's for sure. It was all over the place.
All right, Torn, Natalie Imbruglia. She's Grooves in the Heart.
Yep. Well, we already used that one though.
We did?
Yeah, hip hop. That was on.
Okay.
I put that one on.
Oh yeah, okay. All right. That's fair. I love you always forever near and Donna Lewis. Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus.
Yeah. I thought about putting
What Is Love?
Hadaway. You went much more pop on yours than rock. Like mine are almost all like on the rock
you got a lot of rock. Yeah, you did rock. And then Stay by Lisa Loeb, of course. Lisa Loeb. Shout out.
I didn't notice, Mike. Lisa Loeb was on Andy Frasco's podcast a little while back. So shout out.
Okay.
We can't get her on our podcast, but he could get her there. So.
We might be able to.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't reached
out.
Have
you talked to her management?
I should reach out and be like, hey, Mike confused you with a WNBA player. Come on our show, you turd.
Oh wait, no, it was the WNBA player that responded to the
That's right.
On,
yes. No, Lisa Loeb did not respond. She was tagged, but she didn't care. But the WNBA player found it funny and gave us some laughy emojis and said happens all the time, Mike.
Did.
And I said, yes, Rebecca Lobo. That's who commented.
Rebecca Lobo,
yeah. Anywho, all right, Mike, that was fun. Mike,
it was.
Let's do, again, I'm just going to go ahead and steer this boat.
All right.
Let's do 80s one-hit wonders. We'll do pop. 80s one-hit wonder pop songs. And listeners, I'm sorry if you don't like this. I don't care. I like talking about one-hit wonders. It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Okay, Mike, we've got 2 birthday suits. We need to wrap them up fairly quick. You want the actor or you want the musician?
Actor.
Okay, actor. I'm going to give you the quick clue. He was Magnum P.I. Can you think of who that was? Big old
Not
mustache.
Sean Connery, but I always want to say Sean Connery. It was Burt Reynolds.
No.
No.
Other guy with a mustache.
Like
he looks fairly like him, yes.
Magnum P.I.
Also on Blue Bloods. And he was also on Friends as Monica's boyfriend.
Man, I'm gonna have to pass.
I'll give you the initials. T.S.
Yeah, initials. Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck is correct. Half credit, Mike. Born on January 29th, 1945 in Detroit. Moved to California. I didn't know this, Mike. Played both basketball and baseball at USC. in college. That's impressive.
Yeah.
He's a pretty tall dude. He's 6'4", but like that's pretty wild. And then he just like a drama coach in college was like, "Hey, you should try acting."
Word.
And he was like, "All right." And then he did, and he liked it so much he never graduated. He dropped out his senior year and just started acting. And I'm like, wow, that's a big shift. And then he got drafted in the Vietnam War, but instead he enlisted in the California National Guard, and he served 6 years there. And then his huge break was, of course, with Magnum P.I., where he played Thomas Magnum. And he's famous for his mustache, his Detroit Tigers hat in the show, and his Hawaiian shirt. And he drove around in a Ferrari, of course. There we go. He's won an Emmy. He's won a Golden Globe. Tom Selleck. And I'll tell you, my mom was a pretty huge fan back in the day. Huge. I mean, she's still a fan.
Could you not be?
She's a fan in Blue Bloods. That's one of her shows she likes to go to. But yeah, Tom Selleck. Anyways, Mike, here's the next one. Singer that was on American Idol that now performs with Queen. Who is it?
Performs with Queen.
Yes,
Kelly Clarkson.
The lead singer of Queen.
Lead singer of Queen.
That's not Freddie Mercury, because he's been dead for 40 years almost. I'll give you the initials because that's all I've really got that's going to really help you. His initials are A.L. You'll know the name. I know you will.
Adam Lambert.
There we go. Adam
gosh.
Lambert. Nicely done.
Oh my gosh, that was a guess from the deepest parts of my brain. I was about to feel embarrassed for whatever reason.
You wouldn't feel embarrassed on that one. Not
really.
That's no MLK.
Martin Luther King.
I can't believe I missed Adam Lambert.
I was messed up about missing his wife, and then I missed him, and I'm like, wow.
Now you've got both of them etched in there, though. Yeah, Mike. Adam Lambert ended up going to American Idol on the old 8th season. He did not win it, Mike. He got second when he was on there. He got second to Chris Allen, which I got to be honest, Chris Allen did not really, no offense to Chris, he didn't really make a career for himself, That was. I mean,
usually how it goes.
Well, not always.
Not always. No. Yeah, you're right. Not always.
But they're definitely. I mean, Kelly Clarkson, right? Kelly Clarkson.
She won and she's killing it. Yeah.
Carrie Underwood.
Yeah, there's only a couple examples.
Carrie Underwood killing it.
Yeah.
Anywho. So he went on a solo career, did really well. He got a Grammy, and his second album was number one on the Billboard charts, which made him the actual first openly gay artist to have a number one album. So there you go. Which I was like, really? I find that hard to believe. And I was like, I guess is the case. I guess you would consider everybody that's been gay that's had a number one before that wasn't openly gay at the time, which is interesting. But anyways, he was number one album there, and then of course he since 2012 has been performing with the classic rock group Queen, and he's done multiple world tours, just performing in front of literally hundreds of thousands of people, which is just nutters butters. So happy birthday to Adam Lambert there, turning the big 4-3.
Nice.
So there we go, Mike. We got to wrap it up for this week. I have been your host. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the dad. Charette.
Thank you so much, Doc G. Always a pleasure.
Of course. And until next week, zip it up and zip it out.
Zippity-doo-dah.